So, Edmer, you held one of the top positions in AI sales at Microsoft, including working with LinkedIn and all these other major companies. You're one of the foremost experts really on the capabilities and possibilities of AI for both enterprise applications and everything below that in terms of reaching niche markets. So my question to you is, why are you doing this with me? What got you into, I mean, I know we've been friends for a while, but what gave you confidence in this application, in this platform, and why have you jumped on board with me to bring this to life and bring this to the world?
Yeah, great question. I'm going to answer that in two parts. So, one, I spent over a decade working at the largest software companies in the world, CareerBuilder, LinkedIn, Salesforce, and recently Microsoft. And what I solved for was business operation issues, lack of efficiencies, and transparency. Just to a blanket statement across all technology stacks, from marketing automation all the way down to customer service and quoting and billing, everything in between. And the entire time I was there, I was like, why is there not a CRM for record labels? Or why isn't there a marketing automation technology for independent artists? Or why isn't there like a billing portal or a UI UX to make it easy for musicians that have multiple revenue streams to gather all their information other than an Excel spreadsheet? And what I've come to find is that the music industry wasn't enough of a TAM, total addressable market, for companies like Salesforce and Microsoft to solve for, where other people we're creating niche point solutions for it. So the entire time I've been in enterprise sales, I've always been mindful of how would this benefit myself, people like you, and our friends in our community. And the reason why I'm leaning in with you, Greg, is because of exactly what you were able to solve for yourself. So let's talk about AI in three perspectives. Number one, I want to be clear that the mission of Artist AI is to not touch the creative process. It's the number one thing I hear concerns from artists, managers, and anyone in the industry. Like, look, we're interested in hearing what you're up to, but we don't want it to touch the creative. Great. That's not our mission either. And that's not what Greg did with his music and his success. So, number one, AI does not touch the creative process. Number two, what I learned is the best practice from Microsoft specifically in working with Fortune 500 companies in the financial services industry and the healthcare industry. Again, these are the two most highly regulated and scrutinized industries in the world because of PHI, personal health information, like medical records, and then PII, which are things like date of birth and social security numbers. So, one, I learned best practice from the largest software company in the world in one of the most heavily regulated industries ever, right? So, what I'm bringing to Artist AI is this idea of RPA. It's called robot process automation. And it's exactly what you did, Greg. It's leveraging APIs, which are just connectors. Like if you think of like a guitar pedal board or like a mixing board, it's just the cables that connect the different modules to each other, right? And what you were able to do is automate this process of distributing your music to DistroKid, CD Baby, Two Lost, who we're partnered with, TuneCore, whatever the case may be. And what that did, what we've able to quantify, is that puts about 10 hours back. And I know that's a weird number to think about, but if you think about the due diligence of intelligently pitching your music, finding the playlists and curators, that's the part that a lot of artists are missing that you've been able to automate and make really simple for early adopters here at Artist AI. So the RPA, robot process automation piece, is something that I saw in the financial institutions and insurance companies significantly, right? Like, how do we automate this? Less humans in the interaction, full transparency, most updated data to make humans as powerful as possible with the most relevant information to make their decisions and do their job well. And that's what we're empowering artists to do. So that's the second bullet. Number one, we don't touch the creative process. Two, we're using AI for process automation. But number three, what's most exciting, and I think what speaks to your audience growth and your revenue growth, is intelligently pitching to curators. The fact that we're using ChatGPT and we're studying the way that we're pitching certain songs to certain playlists, all that is, man, that's just the way record labels used to have relationships with disc jockeys at radio stations like K Rock and XRT and KEXP in Seattle. It was just those relationships with those curators, those humans that actually promote the music that they love, that's aligned with their brand or whatever the programming is. That's all these human curators are doing on Amazon Music, on Spotify, and iTunes. And the fact that you've reduced the barrier of entry to get folks into those playlists and make the daunting effort of trying to explain your music to be able to sell that, it's one of the hardest things as an artist to get out of their heads. That's why a lot of people pay publicists to act on their behalf because they're too close to it. It's way too much for them to think about. And they get so caught up that they actually throw their hands up like, never mind, I can't do this. So the three things: number one, we don't touch the creative process of the AI. Number two, we're automating the process to give you 10 hours back. Get back in the studio, get back on the road, more self-care, right? And then number three is how do we intelligently pitch your songs to the places where you have the highest propensity to be heard and seen so that you could achieve the same growth and gain some financial freedom.